Let's do a ghost house reading. Haven't done one in a while. Esmeralda sent me this house like 3 months ago, and I liked it immediately. It just looks haunted. And then I was immediately intrigued because the house was hiding from me. The Google Maps link that she sent me said 2911 K Street. Here's what you get when you go to 2911 K Street on Zillow. This is in the Rose Village neighborhood of Vancouver. It is one of the historic neighborhoods in Vancouver, formerly called Rosemere. So I couldn't find the house on Zillow, so I took Google Maps and I just started walking around the street. And when I originally looked this up, it kept leading me to this empty field where the house should be. And at this point, I was like, oh, I'm definitely reading this house. Most of the houses in this neighborhood don't have official Zillow pictures. They have pictures that look like this. So there's no way to tell if it's the right house. But this is the right house. Eventually, through process of elimination, I determined that this is our house. Address ended up being 2914 K Street. I loved this photo in particular of the house because the front garbage cans are in so much disorder. The reading for this house sort of feels like that. The house just always kind of in disarray, never quite settling, never quite well taken care of. This house reading is really different than a lot of the other ones I've done because the house feels like it has a will of its own. It's like drawing you in. And that's why Esmeralda sent this to me. She was like, I've always felt so drawn in by this house. We attempted to buy it, but it seemed to evade us. Here it is decorated for the holidays. So the initial vibe that I'm getting for this house is that it won't allow people to live in it very long. One of the things Esmeralda said is over the years, it's always gone up for sale and then been taken off the market and then gone up for sale. I don't think anyone's ever really settled in this house. I don't feel that there have been families living here for long periods of time. Here, the house is all dressed up for Christmas like it's Macaulay Culkin's house in Home Alone, but it's a facade. The house has never had that warm Christmas feeling inside. This is more the vibe of the house. Disarray, boarded up windows. And just when I thought I was not going to get to read the inside of this house, Redfin had the old photos of the inside. So immediately on reading the inside of this house, very light vibes, not particularly dark or evil. One of the reasons it took me so long to read this house is I was like, there's something here, but I'm not sure that it's exactly a ghost. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think you can really feel the disjointedness. I also feel many renovations over time. This is the kind of house that would have been neglected. I feel this could have easily become one of those junked mansions, but people have always desired to own this house. It has a magnetism. The house kind of reminds me of a woman who is magnetic and who you will always covet, but you will never date. Notice the lettering up here. It's kind of like a live, laugh, love vibe. And even in these pictures that should be kind of scary, I'm not feeling dark vibes. But what I am feeling is the phrase that came into my mind was aberrant behavior. While I've been doing this house reading, I've been getting a lot of old timey phrases coming into my mind. And they almost feel biblical, almost like whoever is connected to this house had a lot of spiritual, religious shame about their behavior, about what they were up to. And what I feel it's most connected to is organized crime. Feels like gambling debts, feels like bootlegging, and I think specifically coming from around the mid 1920s. Now, the Rose Village slash Rosemere neighborhood was established around 1908. This is a picture of a school building in 1911. Also, can't you just see our house in black and white, just like this photo? Imagine your eyes just turning this to black and white. You can totally see it here in 1917. One of the things that Esmeralda said about this house is it feels like it has been plopped here. Like it doesn't match any of the other houses in the area. And it is original to this neighborhood. And as I looked through all the other houses, there are houses built recently, there are houses built in the 1960s and the 40s. This house is original to the neighborhood, but it was not built until 1917. So, like 10 years into the neighborhood's existence. You know what this neighborhood immediately reminded me of? Where else do we have a suburban neighborhood where you have normal houses interspersed with these huge stately mansions? I immediately thought of Lad's Addition in Portland. If y'all didn't know, Portland is like 15 minutes away from Vancouver, Washington. And sure enough, Lad's Addition established 1905 to 1930, same exact time period. Lad's Addition is famous for its angular street design and then its rose garden plots. People were so proud of roses at this time. We have all this dedication to like rose gardens. We have the neighborhood in question being called Rosemere. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is that this is a time capsule for a moment in history where you could put a stately house next to normal houses and not have that be a problem. I looked for a good picture of it, and you can kind of tell here where you have giant houses next to smaller houses. They don't do this anymore because we would be eating the rich. But for some reason during this time, it was much more accepted to just have mansions next to not mansions. And often the person that would own the stately mansion would be an influential person in the creation of the neighborhood. The house kind of wants to say, this is my neighborhood. I'm the daddy of this neighborhood. So, what I feel is whoever owned this house was influential for the development of the area. I think that this house was built by the person who was doing the crime, but I think at the time this was built, the person who ended up doing a lot of organized crime, they like weren't involved in it yet, but they were always kind of a shady person. Kind of feels like the random millionaire who doesn't have a real job and everyone's like, how do they get all their money? The name of the person, I'm getting a Ross or a Robert. And I feel like he is sort of the one true owner of this house. And I feel that the house sort of wants him back. So, like, what's going on with this house? Is the ghost of Robert in there? I feel strongly that this house does not have any entities living in it, but it does have a secret. I think that there's buried treasure here. And I think that it's possibly under the foundation of the house, or maybe under the foundation of this garage back here. I don't know why this garage just strikes me as not original to the house. So, what it feels closest to is the original owner hid some of his treasure here, hid some money or gold or something valuable to him. And then he died in the course of his gangster activities. Remember, this is the mid 20s into the 30s, a time of bootlegging, prohibition, and this is the moment when Bonnie and Clyde are doing all their things. Like, there is a lot of bloody crime and street war. It was very physically taxing to be a criminal at this time. But remember, this person is a criminal, but they have a public face. They may have been a big donor to the church. There's actually a famous Catholic nun that's buried in this neighborhood who created a bunch of the institutions in the area, like St. Joseph's Hospital, Blanchett House, like all of these old institutions that probably have ghosts of their own. And so I'm kind of wondering if the religious connection to this is that Robert made an attempt to atone for his shady dealings in business life by trying to donate a lot to the church or be a good person or have a good public face. I don't think this house will ever let someone else live in it. I think that its owner passed away and it has been waiting for him to return, just silently waiting over the years, not allowing anyone else to stay very long, but definitely calling out to people, trying to draw them in. Come, see me, pay attention to me. Maybe this is an attempt for the house to continue to get taken care of and renovated so that it continues to stand, so that it's not demolished. This house has a common thing that I see with these houses too, where whoever formed the magnetism or the attachment to the house, they devoted a lot of habit energy to thinking about the house. That's partly why I think that it's buried treasure, because I think that he worried about his buried treasure being found constantly. Maybe he was in prison for a period of time and like he couldn't let anybody know. Also, I think the house sat empty a lot while he was alive. Like he would go on these long business trips and come back. And that's partly why the house is confused. Almost feels like the house doesn't have a concept of time. I guess houses probably have a concept of time like trees do. Like it could be 1,000 years and maybe their owner will return. But anyway, this was a really fun one. If you want to send me a ghost house, you can email me. The link is in the bio.